This episode comes with a content warning. The following contains scenes of malicious violence. Timestamps and details in the show notes. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to an Atomic Broadcasting production, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation. And remember, do your part, such as like, comment, rate, and don't forget to tell a friend to tune in for an Atomic Time.
Now, where did we leave off? Ah, yes. After investigating the cave for which they had been sent, our party was attacked by a band of roving Duragar, evil dwarves from the underground. The party quickly dispatched them, and now returns to town, with one of the Duragar in tow as a prisoner.
Go.
All right, welcome back to episode 6, everyone. Where we last left off with our gang of adventurers, they had just done their preliminary investigation into this cave inside of the mountains. They found a weird statue. They found giant furniture. They found writing all over the wall. None of them could read it. Some of them were very affected by it, sobbing. Others have no emotions. There's something wrong with them. They fought off some Duragar and ended up safely returning this research team back to town. They've got in tow with them their captive Duragar, who is shielding his eyes against the setting sunlight as they bring him out of the mines. Is there anything you all want to do with this guy? Or are you just going to drop him off with the law enforcement?
I'd like to ask a question before we get to town.
Okay.
Am I the one carrying him?
Do you want to be?
I'm seeing yeses and nos around the table.
Alward's like, no.
He's definitely probably more in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So my plan with him, was to bring him into the town authorities, hand him over to that, so he can serve his jail time
And or be executed.
No, I'm gonna do my best to make sure he's not executed, and then just live a normal dwarf life, because he seemed like he really wanted to be above ground.
So am I the one carrying him or not?
I say yeah. You're the one who had him before. You still have him.
How can you carry him?
Okay,
I mean,
I
if
was
you
the
wanna
one
carry
like
him.
a
Baby.
like holding him.
I was
Like a
holding him
baby.
like holding his manacles.
Mandibles.
Mandibles.
Rope.
He's a killer. He's a murderer. He's a thief.
Okay.
So you said he was probably in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably in the
That
middle.
way we can all.
Okay, who's
in the
behind?
middle,
Who's behind me?
Just people.
I
don't
Where's
know.
Salazar?
I'm to the left of you.
I think the research team is probably in the front because you're not walking towards anything dangerous. You're just going to town.
We're all just clumped together.
I'm
I
going to
imagine.
stab him.
Oh.
You're what?
I'm just going to stab him in the side and continue walking like everything's normal.
Can I make
Okay.
a perception check?
Stealth versus perception.
Are you trying to stab him sneakily?
Yes, very sneakily.
Okay. I will roll stealth for you while
Okay.
you roll stab attack.
And it'll
Okay.
be against Alward's perception DC.
Which is, I think, 15?
What's your bonus?
5?
So 15.
Okay.
It's
So
10
that's an
plus 5.
11.
Oof.
Wait a second.
Against
Can
who?
I?
Yeah,
Can I-
technically you can.
Can I read something? Hold on.
Yeah, you can sacrifice one
You
of your
can
cards
sacrifice
to
a
reroll.
hero point if you really
That's
I'm
what
gonna
want to
sacrifice
do
a hero
you
this.
point.
do.
Before
It's
you
a
do
very
that,
heroic action.
Come on.
before
Come
you do
on.
that, I was going to count his armor class as essentially helpless, so giving him the same penalty as if he were unconscious because he's flat-footed to you, he doesn't know you're there, and he's completely bound, so like he can't react,
Oh, okay.
which
So that
means
hit.
that hits. Exactly.
Do
Oh,
I see
okay.
it?
You don't.
Okay.
No one sees this.
That's fine with me. Hamir's fine with it.
Totally not paying attention.
If it's all right with you,
Well,
I want to
I don't
drink
think you
his
care
blood.
who it's all right with anyone.
me at all.
so I know that this is just going to be not very
Awful
much.
evil here,
Well,
dude.
you can count it as if Jordy wants to. I'm not sure if Pathfinder has this mechanic, but you can count it as a coup de grace, which is just you kill it.
Coup de grace.
Tui said goodbye to that.
What they did instead of the coup de grace
Auto
was
crit.
they made it really easy to crit on creatures.
Okay.
Which I probably did not do.
Unless
Right.
you spend
Well, I rolled a 1 for damage.
spell strike.
But I'm wondering...
So 4
Then
damage.
four-
That
four
should be
damage.
enough to kill him anyway.
Are you sure?
That's in this scenario. It feels
That was a funny noise.
this feels like a scenario of
gonna
we don't
stab
need
him.
to worry about damage. He's just dead.
This is a scenario where suddenly in the middle of the group, your Durgan friend just kind of collapses to the ground, kind of like moving his bound hands to his side, and then like shudders a bit and then goes still.
Is he okay?
I don't think so.
What
I
happened?
think he is suffering from residual damage.
Hamir's looking around in case something like happened.
Is he? Can we do something? Does anybody know how to patch things up?
I'm pretty sure he's gone. I dropped him on the floor.
I demand death saving throws.
Oh, please don't.
I was kidding. Did he roll that
Did he
one?
had he
what
won?
happened though?
Did you roll a 6?
He's still breathing.
I stab him.
I demand being
In front of everyone.
In front of everyone.
I was joking, by the way, Jordy.
I am totally okay with not rolling the saving throws.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I don't
He's
stab him.
dead. He's dead.
I
Guys,
was,
there are so
I was
many
rolling
things
as a
that-
joke, and I
Yeah,
rolled a nat
dude.
20.
All right.
That's
all right.
amazing.
Okay, so you stab him. Nobody sees anything. He falls to the ground. You say, "I think he's gone." That's where the canon resumes.
Well, I guess we should bury him,
No, I don't think so. Maybe just leave him in the ground.
but that would make predators come along this road, and our research team needs to make the way back. It could kill normal miners. That's not.
I could put him like 20 feet that way off the road.
I feel like we should give him some sort of
Dolvin
burial
is
ground.
like, "We could just throw him in the hole where we throw them all."
You have a hole.
You
You have
have
a
a
mass
you have a
grave.
hole of
Oh, it is a
Durga.
mine.
Well, they do come up and harass us from time to time. We all
I-
So you just have a mass grave of him?
What are the
Yeah.
dwarven
Into the hole they
burial
go.
things?
The way he's acting is the sense motive fine.
I think so.
23.
Wait, for who? Me?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you do this?
Just to get the sense if you had done it, and
I
if
think-
you did, I'm not going to say anything.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm thinking it's fair to sense motive specifically against your attempt to lie and say he just dropped dead from residual effects.
It would be against his deception check that you rolled.
So what's your
earlier.
deception DC?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, actually, yeah, it's deception. So that would be 10 plus his
Mhm.
deception.
10 plus deception bonus.
Yeehaw,
I think-
11.
Okay. So Hamir, like, it's very obviously you, but Hamir just continues to say nothing.
I mean, you could see the blood dripping off my blade.
Hamir doesn't care.
Who did this?
Hamir's actually much happier that he's dead than alive. But Hamir wasn't going to work against Volden in this situation.
Do you know any dwarven burial rites or anything we can do before throwing him in the mass
I'll
grave?
tell you what burial rights he's got, and he just like picks him up by the rope. The right to be tossed in
Wait,
the
the
grave,
rope.
and just starts
Wait, the
carrying
rope.
him off. I'll bring it back when I'm done with it.
I mean, I wanted to see
Okay.
the hole, but okay.
Dolvin, it's clear, is really happy that they don't have to turn him over to the authorities, and they can just be rid of him.
All right, Volden. It doesn't seem like it was worth the time.
Well, I mean, it would have been if he didn't die.
Oh, really?
Not
Yeah.
necessarily. I've dealt with taxpayer money, and I don't think that they wanted to.
What?
You've dealt with taxpayer money?
What does this have to do with that?
I pay my taxes.
Do you?
I'm not a bad guy.
Are you old enough to do that?
Yes.
I'm not a bad guy, says immediately after stabbing this helpless dwarf.
I'm not a bad guy
All right.
after
Even I'm not
murdering
crazy
someone.
enough to go against the IRS.
All right, Volden.
A choice is it would have given him the ability to make a different life, but now he can't. So
Well,
It,
He paid his
I
punishment.
think is sad that it happened this way, but in the end, it is partially a consequence of his own actions, as foolish as they were, I think. But I do not like to see something die for no reason, indeed.
I think there was plenty of reason.
As this is happening,
He surrendered.
He reclaimed. He was dealt his vengeance.
as this is happening, I've got something for just Abby.
Oh.
Do we need to leave?
Yes.
Oh.
If you guys feel comfortable taking off your headphones and plugging your ears,
Yeah.
if you think that would be
Oh,
good,
you
it's
shouldn't-
pretty brief.
You shouldn't just plug them. You should
Move them around.
That
I don't feel good.
wiggle, wiggle.
I
You
don't
give us
nobody-
the bird
Can't do
when
that.
you're done.
Nobody with 3 lips feet. Look at him.
So, Abby, as the Duragar falls to the ground and dead, I noticed Neros wasn't saying anything. And I think maybe the reason Neros wasn't saying anything is because she saw a small raven with a leather mask, much smaller than the one that you saw previously. And it kind of flies out of the sky and perches on the Duragar's body and then looks up at you like it recognizes you, kind of cocks its head curiously. And when Dolvin comes and starts dragging the body away, the bird kind of flutters up a bit again, kind of looks at you, and then flies off into the sky.
Either you were whispering or there was a lot of S's because I just kept hearing.
I want to know what love is.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah. Show me the love.
Stick with your day job.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'm
Do you
not
believe
cut out for being a
in
soprano.
love
Can I make this sound
after
again?
love after
So Dolvin is dragging this dead Duragar body off. The researchers are continuing off towards town. And now that you're out of the mines, it seems like the 5 of you are free to do whatever you want.
I'm going to go fishing.
He's gonna go fishing.
Oh my god.
No,
Fishing
I'm
mini
kidding, I'm
game.
kidding, I'm kidding.
Fishing mini game.
Pathfinder.
I don't like fishing.
Golden.
Yes.
What's our next step?
Well, the contract is done, so I still have to fulfill up a thing, but as hard as it goes, just stay to where you can receive payment.
So don't leave town.
Yeah.
Fine.
Be easily found.
It can give us some time to talk sometime.
Is there anything
Sure.
to do in this town, like entertainment?
I'm sure we
there's a
can make our
tavern
own
filled with
entertainment.
miners.
That doesn't sound very fun.
I already know what
Miners
I'm
are a rowdy bunch. I've heard.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Are the miners drunk?
I mean, I would presume.
I would hope so.
I don't think miners should be drinking.
What? But they worked so hard throughout the day.
It's a hazard.
What are you talking about? That's rude. Just because they have pickaxes don't mean that that they can't handle it.
So Hamir walks off.
And I would imagine that the rest of you kind of go your separate ways, off for your own individual pursuits.
We did it! Podcast over.
Well done, everybody.
This was just a one-shot podcast,
So,
by
Yeah.
the way. For
What we're
anybody.
going to do is we're going to go ahead and split up now. And we're going to follow each of these characters individually to see what they do with their downtime. One by one, we're going to go through just me and one player, and we're going to see what their character is up to during this downtime. So, will everybody but Sam? Vamos! All right, so we've got a few minutes here to see what Hamir is up to during his downtime.
Well, I imagine he's beelining straight to what was that place? Is it going to be called under the same name in this town? I know we're in a different town than last time I did this. A cellar,
Mm-hmm.
which for those listening is essentially an underground fighting ring.
Yeah, so back in your hometown, or at least where you've been operating out of for a while, of Tomgrove, you were involved in the local fighting ring, which was locally known as the Cellar. Here in Kopparberget, you're not necessarily aware of any fighting rings, but you might be able to poke around and see if you could find something.
Okay, I'll look around, do some talking, see if I can't find anything similar. Just to help pass the time.
Gotcha. And where do you like check first? How are you looking for this thing?
Miners.
So you ask all the children.
I'll find some off-duty miners who are maybe they're a little drunk past the point where they might go somewhere like that. Ask around about it discreetly.
Gotcha. Yeah, and with some discreet questioning of off-duty drunk miners, you very quickly find that there is a ramshackle building near the old entrance to the mine where those who are in need of a little bit more of a physical exertion to let off steam will gather for good old-fashioned pugilism.
Awesome. So I start heading that way and then to see what kind of a crowd there is right now.
Gotcha. So when you first arrive, there's, a handful of people getting ready to watch. It's not nearly as big a scene as Tom Grove's fighting ring was, but it's definitely enough people to make it fun and not just a brawl between two random people.
Right.
Making your way into the crowd, you find the dwarf who's clearly organizing things. He introduces himself as Cedric, and he starts working through just the quick little scrap of paperwork he's got and asks if you have like a stage name that you go under.
I was often called the Soldier.
I can see why they call you that with that garb you've got on over everything.
I look down at my very faded and torn regalia.
Loot that off of a returning soldier, did you?
No.
All right. Your past is your own. Let's just see if you can fight to live up to the tabard.
Just give me someone.
Right. We'll put you up against the Rock.
Exactly.
Dwayne Johnson.
The Stone. The Stone Breaker. I don't know. The Rock? Are we going with that?
We're going to go with the Rock.
All
It's
right.
a guest appearance.
All right, so in that case, Hamir's going to step off to the side. I imagine there's still a fight finishing up right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to start taking off his armor and stuff. Because you don't usually wear armor, essentially a boxing fight.
Yeah.
So he's going to go shirtless, and you see he's kind of thin, but still has that muscles, but like everything's been beaten and bruised and hasn't always quite healed right kind of a body.
Mm-hmm.
As he's preparing and like wrapping up some of that bandage around his arms and fists to help with the knuckles, there is a ethereal elf standing off to the side near him with like his neck feels like it's kind of this eternal wound that's always gushing out. And Hamir looks up at him and says, What do you want this time? Here to judge me some more?" And it just sort of keeps staring at me. And Hamir's like, "The contract's over. I don't need to be around the boy anymore. He's infuriating in a very different way than you." And Hamir starts kind of preparing, and as he's kind of lets out a big sigh, this sort of little bit of that green mist kind of comes out of Hamir's mouth, and then he kind of takes a big breath afterwards, like he's like something was tasted really wrong, like sour for a second, and then he's ready to enter the stage. I imagine it's just a ring of people.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks like there's they threw down some sawdust to try to sop up any blood from a bloodied nose or something like that. But it's pretty much just wooden floor with some sawdust thrown down, people standing in a circle ready to watch. Your opponent steps out from the other side, and it's an unusually tall dwarf who is just... Can you say someone's bristling with muscles? Because this guy is.
I guess so. You said it.
He's also bristling with dwarvish hair. It's an intimidating sight.
All right. So I step out, I'm getting ready, and we see this ring of people, and within them are 13 different ethereal-looking figures, all watching.
And no one in the crowd seems to notice them, just you.
They all have wounds in various places.
This guy is very intimidating in his posture and his stance and just his sheer bulk as he steps forward, and he's just like cracking his knuckles like,
Oh, you're gonna take me on, eh?
I fought bigger. I fought tougher.
Oh, but you ain't fought better, laddie. I'll guarantee you that.
and as he's finishing talking, he just like starts charging at you with his shoulder.
Could I like sidestep and try and trip him?
Yeah, so you step to the side and you go to trip him, and he just drops to the ground and rolls over your leg and stands back up on his feet, fists up in front of him in a guarded posture. He's like,
Oh, we have to do better than that.
I didn't realize I was fighting a ball.
and as you say that, he just like swings out and just like with unexpected speed and just like clocks you in the face.
Ooh. And he's like, oh, well, this bull's got fists.
Ah. Oh, it seems. Good. I like that. I spit out some blood, and I pull out some more soot that I have, and it kind of washes over my hands, and then I go to return a blow.
And I'll say your blow makes contact with him, and he just doesn't really seem fazed. Not like it didn't hurt him at all, but just like more like he can take it, you know? And he just kind of rolls with the punch.
Okay.
And then like shoots back with his head with like a headbutt and hits you. And as you make contact with him, you kind of like have like flashes of like how many times he's done this in the past. And you get like this eerie sense that he's not here just to fight. Like he wouldn't mind any injuries you sustain from whatever he's going to do to you.
Okay. So I kind of reel back, and some more of that mist is coming out of my mouth as I breathe, kind of almost like when it's cold out and you have that frosty breath. That's that mist. And I grab the chalice real quick, take a swig, and then just toss it on the ground. No, I keep it in my hand. I like try to toss it to the ground, but it stays in my hand. And then I jump up at him and shove my thumb into his right eyeball.
And he like reels back grunting, and the crowd, like half the crowd is like, yeah, go for it. And the other half of the crowd is like, ooh, this is more than we came here for. But he's able to like hold your hands off, so you're like not able to get like a full dig in and gouge. And with his one hand, he's holding your thumb back, and with the other, he just like grabs wildly until he like grabs your arm and just like swings you over him, slams you into the ground. And like for a second, you're like, you know, short of breath. Just in time for you to see him reeling up for a pile driver.
I'm gonna like feign like I can't move and then roll at the last second. If I could do that.
Make a reflex save just to see how that turns out.
Sure. I'm not good at reflex. That's a natural one.
So you're getting ready to time this, and you're ready to roll out of the way just in time, but he just moves a lot faster than you were expecting and just lands full force on you. And just with that jolt for a minute, like everything seems to go quiet and like dark. And you see a flash of a face, perhaps. It's a featureless face, just like a smooth head-shaped face, as it reaches out a 3-fingered insectile hand towards you.
I sort of brush it off and get up. Like I kind of reach out, but kind of like, like I'm very groggy, delusional kind of. It's like don't wake me, kind of a nah. Maybe later kind of a deal. As I grab some like sawdust and throw it up in his face.
And as your vision clears from just the stunning blow, you realize that you've grabbed sawdust and just kind of thrown it up, but your opponent has already stood up and is just smugly smiling down at you from like the opposite side of you.
Rude. How rude. Alright, I'm gonna trip him down with me.
Gotcha. So you swing around with your leg, and it like clips his leg, and he's too busy like mocking you. He doesn't see it coming, and he just goes down hard. And now the tables have been turned.
And then I'm just gonna start hitting him right in the face on the nose with my stone chalice.
Gotcha. And as you're doing that, you just kind of feel like this surge of like aggressive energy of feeling like this is right and this is what he deserves as you're just pummeling him.
Yeah,
with
and
the
Hamir
chalice.
is giving in to that. He's just hitting harder and harder and harder.
And if anyone were watching closely, they would see the breath from your mouth is getting stronger and stronger of that green mist, like you were mentioning earlier.
I'd say his left cheek almost looks like it's boiling on some spots as he's doing this.
And after a few blows, you realize you've subdued your opponent. He is out. Possibly even a broken nose.
Okay. I go down and I grab him by like his collar. I'm like, "Are you done? Are you done?"
He, of course, does not answer, but Cedric runs up and gets between the two of you, and he's just like, all right, whoa, you've got some fire in your lad. Right, Joffrey, come on and see to the rock, see that he gets cared for.
Do you know how many lives this man has taken here?
Well, he's not taking any lives under my watch. We make sure every
Under
fight
your
is
watch,
fair.
but do you know how many lives he's taken in his life? How many innocents?
And how many have you?
It doesn't matter. I've already paid my price. And with my chalice, I'm just going to slam right down into his head to try and just do like a killing blow.
Go ahead and make me an attack roll. Just to see how that turns out.
Natural 20.
So just completely taking everyone by surprise, you just bash this guy on the head with the chalice, and the crowd just kind of goes silent as they just witness what all that was. And Cedric's just like, get out and don't let anybody know you were ever in here.
And Hamir's just, the chalice is just kind of hanging loose, and that fog is just pouring out. It's coming out of his mouth. His, like, the boiling is still there, and his eyes are almost not glazed over, but they look like they have fog moving in them. And he starts just kind of making his way out.
The crowd readily parts for you, and they're just really keeping their distance.
As he's walking through like a tunnel of people, all the tunnels edging are those 13 ethereal forms as he's walking between them.
And you feel a presence. It's not a person. You don't hear a voice. You just kind of feel a presence that's like, you know, the opposite of your guilt getting in. You know, like there's the sense of like, I just killed somebody, you know, but then there's also like a weird just sense of approval.
So feeling that, he kind of almost feels kind of good about it. He's obviously still like beaten up pretty bad. He's not fully disoriented right. And he kind of walks over to a pond or something nearby to get some water. And in the reflection is this, instead of him, it's this kind of formless thing made of that fog, sort of changing its look. There's like faces every now and again. And that same hand, like it almost like it's actually physically coming out of the water. And he's not sure if he's going to take it or not. And he looks over further, like to the side in the water's reflection. And he sees the face of a woman standing there, looking around like she's on the move, traveling maybe. And he recognizes that as his daughter. And he remembers what he's searching for. And so he takes the hand. And then everything goes black.
And I think that's where we'll cut this vignette. All right, so Sven, Uver has just departed from the rest of the party after finding something he probably did not expect in that cave.
Yeah. Really, really surprised right there. He's,
I can imagine him just going to like the nearest library. He would go to the nearest library.
So I've got bad news.
No library?
There's not really any library worth speaking of here in Kopparberget.
Tavern.
Sure. There's actually a pretty nice place called the Cheerful Martin here in town.
In that case, he's going to go to this tavern and he's going to find like the most corner booth or table, and he's going to sit down and take out his pack and take out all his books and just start ravenously just going through each one and comparing notes, pulling out a book from like 150 years ago and pulling it over here and opening up to like page 13, and then pulling out his current book copy and pulling it over and just comparing the two notes.
And as you're going over your notes and comparing them against your book, against your scars, and then against the inscriptions you took from what you found in the cave, you're now actually starting to see like the chicken scratch that the other scholars were pointing out. And you're like, finally, that now that you've got time to actually sit down and look at it, you're like, these notes are garbage. This doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't make sense. I know exactly what I was writing, but it doesn't match up. I can see it with my eyes. It is there, and then, but I copied it over here. And there's something about these runes that is not. What did he say? He said they were cursed. I feel like somebody said the runes were cursed. But why did I not notice? And it wasn't just me. It was Alazar. It was Salazar. They both of them said that they were writing it down. But that explains why they was all gibberish. It made no sense. But why doesn't it make sense?
As you're working all of this over to yourself, talking to yourself, a young woman walks up and is like, "Hello there. Is there anything I can get for you, good sir?"
Yes. Do you have any mushroom soup? Mushroom soup would be very nice right now.
Of course. We make that here. I'll get you some. Could I get you anything to drink?
Yes, some clear water. I do not need anything to muddle my head.
All right. And can I recommend our mozzarella sticks? They're famous.
Certainly, yes. I will try some, young lass.
All right. And she bustles off and starts collecting mushroom soup, clear water, and mozzarella stick.
So you say all my notes are chicken scratch, pretty much.
All of the notes you took in the cave.
In the cave. Okay.
Well, let me rephrase. Anything you tried to transcribe in the cave is chicken scratch. Anything where you were writing down a note of like what you were thinking or something, that's clear.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to I will notice that, and then I will start comparing what my thoughts were in my memory of. Oh, actually, how do I remember the runes visually?
When you start thinking back over them, it's really fuzzy, kind of like, when you're trying to remember a dream later, and it's like everything in the dream made sense, but then when you try to think back about the details, it's like, are there details?
Okay. Have I ever come across this before?
No. Even with the runes on your own skin, you can clearly picture them in your mind. But the runes on the cave wall, it's like a fuzzy, blurry memory.
How about in any of my other studies in ancient lore?
No. So you're thinking might be something different.
I think it is very important that I go back up there. And I must try something different. Perhaps instead of trying to copy what I am seeing, I can take a piece of charcoal and a piece of paper and see what that does. That might work. But I cannot leave this opportunity. I must find out what is it. This is the best opportunity I've come across in 300 years. I cannot leave this alone.
And the young woman comes back at that moment with a tray with some water, some soup, and some mozzarella sticks, complete with the marinara sauce. She's like, here's your food, good sir.
Ah, thank you, lass. Thank you, lass. I do not mean to be a bother.
Oh, no, it's no trouble at all. You're welcome here in the Cheery Martin.
Cherry Martin, yes. And what do I owe you, good lass?
What?
And what do I owe you, good lass?
I don't understand what you're saying.
What do I owe you?
Oh. I was hearing, what way are you? I was like, what kind of way? That will be 2 copper.
Oh, here is a silver, young lass, and thank you very much for your
That's
service.
very generous, very generous. I'll put it towards your tab, and if you want anything else, just let us know.
Oh, no. Please keep it for yourself. It is nothing.
I can't do that, but it's very generous. Thank you.
Of course.
What name should I put on the tab?
Uver.
All right. She makes a quick scrawling.
Is there anyone else that has been to the mine? Who were the original miners that went up there and found that opening? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that cave that everyone's been talking about.
Yes.
Are you with that team that's been studying it?
Yes. I went up there the other day. I was wondering if I could perhaps talk to some of the people that saw it first.
Well, I suppose you might, but they would just tell everybody they don't know nothing. They refuse to talk about it.
Do they? They don't remember anything.
Oh, well, they say they didn't see much, and honestly, I think they're afraid that if they talk about anything that they'd seen, people might make them go explore it.
Oh, well, that is not their fear now. Perhaps they would be more willing to speak.
Well, I mean, there's no harm in it. I mean, it's common knowledge. It was Krell and Ivori. They were the two who were mining together when they broke through.
Krell and Ivori. Do you know where I could find them?
Well, they come by here from time to time, but I'm not sure where they live. Somewhere here in town, as most of the miners do.
Is there any way you could perhaps get word to them that I would like to speak with them? I am not part of the companies or anything. I am a singular explorer and seeker of knowledge.
I could take a message. Uver, right? That was your name?
Uver Sterkwind.
Yeah,
Yes.
if I see them, I'll let them know you're wanting to talk to them.
I would be most appreciative, young lass.
Of course, of course.
And he's going to go back to poring over his books and trying to decipher his written notes that he had of the runes, and enjoying some mushroom soup and mozzarella sticks, apparently.
As you're looking that over, there's like an itching sensation on your left shoulder, and you're probably just like absentmindedly like scratching while you're working over your stuff and everything, but eventually it's getting like uncomfortable enough that it draws your attention.
I must have picked something up. A loose stitch or something, but I do not. I don't have time for this.
And he kind of just does a really rough scratch on his shoulder to try and get it to go away.
And that's really not comfortable.
He's going to try and roll up his sleeve, perhaps as far as he can go, to perhaps take a look at it and see what's going on.
As you roll up your sleeve, one of those runes that's been etched into your shoulder that you are oh so familiar with, looking at it again, it looks almost like it's been freshly scarred over again. And there's like a new like dash or something that looks kind of like a diacritic has been added or something.
What is this? That has not been there before.
He quickly looks at it, and then
I wonder.
and he tries to scribe that out.
And you succeed. At least as far as you know.
I actually wave that young lass over again.
She comes over and is like, of course, have you finished your soup? Is there anything else I could get you?
Actually, it is a weird question, but I was wondering if you could help me with something. I am trying to transcribe some runes, and I'm running into some difficulties with what I have written down and how it is perceived. And could you perhaps tell me? And I hold up the chicken scratch pages. It says, "Does this look like anything to you?"
She looks really like.
And do not be too. If it looks like what did he say? Like dinosaur scribblings or whatnot. Do not be afraid to say so. I am.
She looks less uncomfortable now after that remark, and she's like, "It kind of does look like dinosaurs, sir."
Of course. I kind of expected it, but how about this? And I show her the newly transcribed rune from my shoulder.
Well, sir, I'm not very well educated. It's some sort of rune, I think.
But you can see it. You can tell that it is a rune. It is not the chicken scratches.
It could be. I don't know. I'm not much for the arcane arts.
And I show her the runes that I've actually copied from my arm, and says, and these look to be in the same style, yes?
I think so. They're not dinosaurs.
No. But thank you so much. That is very helpful. You do not understand.
She looks very confused.
Please pardon an old man, but it is actually very important that I find out that is true, that you can understand or at least read what that is written down.
I can't read it, sir. I don't know what that means.
No. That it looks like something that is not gibberish.
Oh, right. Yeah, it looks like some sort of letter or something.
Of course. Thank you very much. And yes, could I have another bowl of chicken soup? Not chicken soup. My head is so muddled. I am excited. Some mushroom soup. And they are very good mozzarella sticks. I would take another thing of those too.
And she smiles and is like, "Right away, sir," and runs off to go get another refill.
Interesting. So, this is a rune that is new on my shoulder on me. I can write down, but the runes that are in that room, they are protected, that they cannot be taken out, both by written form or from memory. But what kind of magic? I don't know if I've ever come across this type of magic before, or this kind of power.
Alward Volden. The group has gone their own separate ways, at least for the day, and you've got a little bit of time to yourself. You've just stumbled into this cave, you've seen some very interesting things, and then been tasked specifically by Sithri and Dolvin with making the final decision over who gets to keep whatever was found in that cave.
Does this town have like a library? I know we're in like a smaller town.
Not really one to speak of. If there's any form of library, it would probably be more like a richer guy who has some books and maybe will let you look at them.
Is there a like town of records, like a thing I could look up for like cases that have been won or lost?
The closest thing to that would likely be like the mine headquarters. What would you call that? The mine headquarters.
That's what you call that.
Where the important people for the mine are.
Then yeah, I'm going to go wherever I can find books about law and books about court cases and study up on that to make my decision. Like look over the maps and the land claims and like the information that I have from being there and like figure out I should have measured the pathway.
I was assuming you were.
Okay, we'll take that. I have an eye for numbers, so we'll say yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's part of what you were there for.
Yeah, it is part of what I was
You
there
measured
for.
it therein and measured it on the way out and made sure you had the same number.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Off screen, of course.
Oh, yeah. We don't need to bore the audience with those details. We'll just tell them in the vignettes.
The important details for why I'm there. Yeah, so I'm going to go do that. I'm going to study up on some lawyering stuff so I can make a better decision.
So you head into the mine headquarters, and you're greeted by a very chipper dwarvish receptionist who's like, "Hello, what can I do for you?"
Yes, I've been tasked to deliberate the dispute between the Infernal Mining Company and the mines of Kopparberget. I was hoping to see any litigation you had on mining cases and land claims in the past.
Well, we don't have a lot of those sorts of disputes in the area, but what we do have is very detailed surveyor's charts of the area and the original deed purchased from the Linnorm King himself.
And remind me, the Linnorm King doesn't actually live here anymore. He was in a different kingdom.
Right, he lives up north.
Right. I don't know if that matters, but thank you. Can I have those?
Of course, I'll go get them for you. And she hops down off of her chair and walks off into a back room. It's kind of awkwardly quiet in the front reception area.
Albert's gonna do that thing where, like, you get so bored you just randomly touch stuff, and he's gonna accidentally knock something off of the counter and then try to, like, fix it before she gets back.
And while you're fiddling with that, a different door opens from the other side of the room, and a dwarf with, like, gray hair that's silvering and, like, a green cloak walks in, and he suddenly stops short when he sees you and is like, "Howard! Well, I wasn't expecting you here."
With my mage hand, I'm going to just move the thing under the desk, turn around quickly, be like, yes, and is this, what's his face? I don't remember his name personally. I have it written down. I just don't want to look for it.
Yes, it's Bran, the dwarf who got you
Bran.
the job in the first place.
Yes, hello. I'm just here to look at the charts and whatnot.
Different from the last time you met him, he is currently dressed in, like, a white shirt and, like, overalls, and he's got huge leather gloves stained with oil all over his hand and, like, a jeweler's loop on his head.
Were you in the middle of crafting something?
Just working on a wee bit of something. What brings you around?
Well, like I said, I'm trying to get as much information so I can be the impartial deliberator that I've been hired to be.
It's respectable of you. And what did you find up in those caverns? Anything interesting? And he's kind of taking off his gloves and settling in.
We found a statue and a cursed room.
Well, that is interesting. So he's some sort of, like, a vault or like a tomb, or...
It looked more like a giant study.
He just kind of, like, looks completely, like, befuddled, and he's overjoyed that he's this confused.
Not like a storm giant or anything. Maybe like a hill giant or a rock. I don't know too many giants. Not like a big one, but like
a small giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, split the difference, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. Do we know what the implications might be of whoever inherits that, so to speak?
No. The researchers are still doing their thing. They said our part of the contract was done. So now we're just waiting payment. And they're going to hire miners to protect them from here on out.
Right, that does seem more cost effective, but smart lad like you gonna let an opportunity like this slip through your fingers just because your contract's done?
Three Duragar were murdered while we were there, plus a giant spider. One surrendered peacefully, and he just sort of died when we were taking him into town.
Bran just kind of chuckles mirthlessly and is like, Duragar can't be murdered. They're vermin.
They're living beings with thoughts, ambitions, and wants and needs. They can be murdered.
Once you have dealt with enough Duragar like I have, lad, you'll understand.
So you do understand that just because you want to delve further into the mine and they live there, you're invading their home. I'm not on the side of them, mind you, I don't care. I'm just saying, like, they're not pests.
We broke through to their lands on a mining accident, and ever since then they've been trying to push up and take over everything.
Yeah, they seem a little jealous, if I'm gonna be honest. I was hoping to bring that Duragard back so he could be rehabilitated and just live like a normal life, but he died.
Good riddance to him. And as he's saying that, the door to the records room opens and the receptionist comes back in with like all these papers. And she's like, well, I wasn't sure what you were wanting, so and she like puts the papers down very quickly and was like, Mr. Kentnell, I wasn't expecting you. And he's like, it's all right. I'm just having a chat with our good lad Alward here. There's papers for him. And she passes the papers over and he starts looking through them and he's like, these will be helpful for making the right decision.
Alward, when he tries to hand him the papers, he like holds his hands up and then his unseen servant comes in and takes them and then just floats behind Alward.
And he's like, looks at you and then without his mouth moving, just like psychically to your mind, he's just says, make sure you do make the right decision, lad.
Can I insight check this to see if it's a threat? Like, should I feel threatened?
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
11. Sad.
Yeah, you're not sure exactly how to read it. You can tell, obviously, he's trying to be like, you need to side on our side, but you're not entirely sure, like, what the consequences would be. Like, if it's a flat-out threat, or if he's just trying to pressure you because you're there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll side on whatever side owns the land, I suppose,
And I'd expect nothing less. That's why we hired an upstanding, bright young man like yourself.
You found me in a coffee shop.
Aye, but we can see that you've got a heart of gold and a head of titanium.
So does this... So I've been meaning to ask, ignoring that weird compliment, does this have anything to do with the rumor that my landlord has been spreading? Because I promise I don't actually do any of that. He lets me live there for free because of it, and I tell him constantly. He just doesn't believe me.
I wouldn't know what all rumors are spread about you.
The one that says I'm a revolutionary leader against the Cheliaxians who are coming into that one?
Well, if you're revolutionary in the right way.
I'm gonna go now.
Right, but before you go, take this as a memento. And he hands you a small, like, scrap of blue crystal.
Is this a bribe?
Oh, it's a souvenir.
I don't feel right taking a bribe.
Well, he takes the crystal back. I'll hold on to it until you've made your decision.
So
then,
I get that regardless.
No matter what you choose, you get this.
What is it?
This, I like to call it Spirit Shard. It's very good at harnessing and conducting energy.
Can I have that?
I thought so. And he hands it back to you again.
I'm gonna grab it via a mage hand and stuck it in to one of... Is it a lapel? No. A lapel's not a pocket.
Mm-mm.
The inner coat pocket. What's the name of that? Of the vest?
I call it the inner vest pocket.
I'm gonna stick it in my inner vest pocket.
Aha, I know what that means. All right, and armed with the papers and all the documentation and your own records, you head somewhere secluded, I would imagine, to do your calculations.
Yeah, I don't know if we were provided lodging for this or anything like that, but I'm too far away from my home to go anywhere, so I would presume if they have an inn, probably just go to a room in an inn for the night. If they don't, where are we in the town that the infernal mining company? I kept wanting to say demonic mining company. Are we in the town where they have bunks for people?
No, you're actually in the rival mining company right now with Kopparberget.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was. Okay.
But there is a tavern in the area, the Cheery Martin, that they've got rooms open and plenty of space to study.
Yeah, the one with all the miners.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then I'll go there and probably just rent out a room for the day, or like put it on the mining company's tab or whatever, and just go. That way I won't have to worry about people like ruining the maps or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're able to quickly rent a room with the lady who runs the establishment, who is Esmeralda Dulaine. And she gives you one of the rooms upstairs. And I would imagine that would probably tie you up for the better part of the evening.
Yeah, probably for the rest of the day. Unless something happens, probably just I feel the need to do anything else. Just sit there and poring over the land rights. I will. I would say I'd send my unseen servant out to go get me more books, but he can't move more than 60 feet away. So
I think we'll leave Alward to his work and not distract him. So, having come out of the mine and separated from the rest of the group, each has gone their own way, and now, Zephyr, you are on your own in Kopparberget.
Okay. I think I'm going to go back to that tavern, which I can't remember what it's called.
The Cheery Martin?
Yes, the Cheery Martin. I'm going to go back there.
All right. And as you go in, you notice Dane is at work and, bussing tables and doing her job. And she looks up and notices you and gives you a friendly wave and gestures to your typical table, which is currently occupied by a dwarf with a long silver beard poring over books and notes.
Do I recognize this dwarf?
Yes, it's Uver.
It's Uver? Oh, well. I'm gonna keep my distance for now, but gonna go up to Dane.
Dane, it's wonderful to see you again.
It's good to see you back. I didn't know you were back in town already.
Oh, have been for a while now. Not sure how long. I've been underground for a lot of it. Don't really know. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. I was kind of curious, since I've got some time on my hands. I wanted to do some investigating of my own. Besides what I've been doing. Have you or Esmeralda had any experiences here in the tavern or in the rooming quarters as of late?
I mean, we live and work here, so there's been a lot going on. Is there anything particular you're concerned about?
I mean, anything odd, anything out of the ordinary. Not something that you would normally hear from a normal patron.
No, nothing unusual. Is there anything specific you're concerned about?
Just seeing things, bumps in the night, mysterious happenings.
No, it's been rather peaceful, but if I do see anything, I will let you know.
All right, I do appreciate it. Is Esmeralda in?
Oh, yes, she's up at the front mixing drinks and such right now.
All right, I may give her a question too as well. I do appreciate you. Would you mind mixing me a drink while I'm up there talking to her?
Well, Esmeralda doesn't like me mixing things. She says I put too much spirits in there, but if you don't tell her, I'll get you something strong.
Well, then why don't you just pour me something and we get her?
All right, I'll get you something then. And she guns off to the counter. She runs off to the counter and gets a drink ready for you.
Oh, well, I thought it was going to take longer. I'm going to make my way over to Esmeralda, the front desk, and just kind of... I'm going to ask her the same thing, so if you want to speed that up, I can work with it.
No, she's happy to see you again, just like Dane is, and she also doesn't have any particular supernatural experiences or anything, but she promises if anything comes up, she'll let you know.
I don't want to bother Uver.
He does seem to be really absorbed in his study right now.
Pretty distracted, I'd say. I'm going to step out and see if there's anybody that seems suspicious or interesting to me in any way. So just outside the cheery Martin.
Mm-hmm. Stepping out, everything seems cheery, normal in the mining town. It's towards the end of the day now, and people are starting to get off their day shifts of the mine and heading off to wherever they go in the evenings, some to home, some to the bar, some to various other places. As you're doing that, you notice Dulvin, who has separated off from the rest of the group, and he is talking to a female dwarf who seems really upset.
I'm going to go up to Dulvin. Not very, I'm not going to just barge right up there. Just going to kind of walk up to her and listen as I get closer.
So if you kind of creep up and listen for a little bit, it becomes readily apparent that this is Dolvin's sister.
Oh.
And she's like asking him, like, where were you? It was so hard, working through the death of my husband with you out of town. And why did this all have to happen this way?
I am going to walk up to Dolvin, and I'm just gonna kind of walk up next to them and go,
Oh, Dolvin, it's good to see you again.
And he's gonna look up and be like, haven't you? Not now, Zephyr. We're in a bit of a sensitive moment, if you can't see.
Well, I just wanted to check on you, see if you took care of our problem from the mines.
Right. As I was telling you, Irene, it's a very crucial time for the mines. There's a lot been going on, and we need to. And she's just like pushes him away, and is just like, no, I understand.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't meet your acquaintance. Is that the right word? I'm sorry. I didn't meet you. What's your name? Irene, right? I heard him say that.
Right. Zephyr, this is my sister, Irene. I'm afraid she's just lost her husband.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened?
We don't rightly know. He was murdered.
He was murdered. Very interesting. Well, have they caught the person or creature that has done this?
No.
Well, I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm sure you're better alone. Anyway, I know I've shared my feelings on life being alone. It's actually quite a bit better, I promise you.
She just looks at you like you slapped her in the face. Dolvin is just like, his jaw just drops, and he's just like, right, well, Irene, let's be off. We'll get a drink and just, talk it out. We'll be seeing you later, Zephyr.
Make sure you go by the Cherry Martin. I hear they have some good drinks, which I completely forgot that I asked her to mix up. Oh, no.
And the two of them just kind of walk off. Dolvin occasionally shoots like a glance over his shoulder, like, what was he thinking?
Oh, no. I've made enemies. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to go back and get that drink. Can't believe I did that. Yeah, I'm gonna head back to the tavern, and I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna make a beeline for the front, see Dane there, and hopefully she will indicate which drink it is.
It's been a short enough period of time. As you walk in, Dane is holding a drink and looking around kind of confused, and then sees you and is like, oh, and comes over with your drink.
Oh, I do apologize. Here, thank you. Is this to go?
Well, we would need the glass back.
How fast can I drink this?
Reasonably quickly.
I'm going to drink it as fast as I can. I'm going to do that move where you swirl it and then just chug it all down in one sip.
Chug, 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 chug.
How strong was it?
Moderately strong. It's not liquor, but stronger than beer.
Let's see how well I handle it. I handled it very well.
This is how you drink all of your drinks.
Yes, exactly.
I drink it very quickly and I drink it very quickly and efficiently. Now, I do apologize, but I'm going to have to step out again. I seem to have made some enemies, and I just want to make sure that I don't have any other enemies looking my direction. I may be back.
Dane looks genuinely concerned and is like, take care of yourself, all right?
Oh, don't worry about me.
And I scurry out the door.
As you head out of the tavern, by this point the sun is mid-set and it's starting to get dark in the town. And Dolvin and Irene are nowhere to be seen.
Okay. And it's probably a lot less, a lot fewer people are out there.
Yeah, a lot fewer. There's still a few folks walking around. Most of them are like clearly heading to their destination now. There's not a lot of people just kind of milling around chatting.
Okay. Since this is a mining town, I am curious, are there any things that we can do library-wise or academia-wise?
There's not really a library much to speak of. Maybe the best luck you would have would be like finding a rich guy who's got some books he'll let you borrow.
That doesn't help too much. Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball, but I'm just going to head to the closest line of trees and play with magic.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's not too hard to find, just some pine trees growing outside of town. If you head out to the southwest of town, there's mostly like pasture land that's just kind of crisscrossed by fences.
So after all of my misses with all of my wonderful attempts at my cantrips that I cast and didn't hit a single thing, I'm just going to use this downtime that I have to practice targeting things such as plants, trees, animals if they come by. Just trying to hone my abilities, so to speak. But I don't really have a plan for anything else.
Gotcha. So as you're out here in the dark by yourself with no one else around,
With my magic.
with your magic,
Whoosh, whoosh.
you start to feel that same sense that you felt before of something watching you.
I'm going to slow down on my magic and start to perceive a little bit more. Just keep an eye out because I feel there might be someone or something out there watching, but I don't want to make it known that I know that they're there.
Gotcha. And from your previous experiences with this sensation, you felt it before, and for the longest time you've put it off as just being like anxiety or something like that creeping up on you. But the last time you felt this, you found footprints in your locked room and found your door unlocked. So now you know something is going on.
Do I hear anything?
No, you don't hear anything. But if you really start to pay attention, then you kind of begin to draw your attention to a specific tree. And it's like, that's where like the sense of the presence of something foreboding is coming from.
I'm going to creep towards it, possibly. I feel like if they know I'm there, then I probably don't have the opportunity to sneak. I'm just gonna walk slowly towards it, making sure nothing comes out of the bushes next to me.
When you get about 25 feet away from the tree, you hear this raspy, deep voice just echo out from the tree line, and it's just like, "Do you seek your death already, small one?"
I seek nothing but the reason for my family's death. Who are you?
I am your end, and you are my beginning.
I'm gonna dash for behind the tree to see if there's anything behind it.
And as you dart around the tree, you see nothing, but you hear just the echoes of that laughter somehow like all around you and in the back of your mind, just kind of growing fainter and fainter, and that sense of presence just kind of dissipates, although I would imagine the anxiety does not.
In a rage, I'm going to blast a fireball at the tree, or at least producing flames at that tree. Hopefully it's going down. Or up.
And as the tree starts catching fire, we just see, like, in the flickering firelight, two massive footprints. Like, and when I say massive, they're like 16, 18 inches long each. But aside from what you might expect from like a giant's footprint or something, it appears like this creature was wearing like high fashion shoes.
Into the night sky, I just say,
I will find you. I don't know who you are or what you want, with me in particular, but I will find you, and it will be your end that I bring.
So, the group has finished their investigation of the strange cave that we found in the mines. They've returned to town and all split up and gone their separate ways. So, what is Neros doing?
I think Neros. Well, first of all, with your little side thing that you gave me, are there any ravens around?
Not at the moment. No.
Okay. All right, cool. Is there like a local tavern anywhere?
Yeah, there is. There's a small place called the Cheery Martin in the middle of town.
The Cheery Martin. Cool. I think I'm gonna go there first off.
Okay. So you just make a beeline for the middle of town and head into the Cheery Martin.
She's just like, see you guys.
I mean, you know right where it is because Zephyr was pointing it out on your way into town.
Oh, that's right, he was. Okay, cool. Cool.
So as you first enter, there's, let's see, you're greeted by a young woman with like golden braided hair, and she's just like, hello, welcome to the Cheery Martin. What can I get for you?
Oh, whatever's strongest.
Right.
I'll blow up some steam.
Well, you'll want to go up and talk to Esmeralda. She's working with the drinks today. She's got the bar under control. But if you need anything delivered right to your table or any food, I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you very much. She goes up to the Esmeralda.
Esmeralda is like a no-nonsense middle-aged woman with like dark frizzy hair, and she's like cleaning out a glass like bartenders always do, and she's like, what can I get for you?
What's the strongest drink that you got back there?
Leans on the counter. Honey, this is a mining town. She slams a bottle of whiskey on the counter.
That's it?
We can't have too much too strong.
All right, fine.
Gotta keep things under control.
Let's take a double.
She nods and pours it for you.
Cool. So Neros is looking around. She's got her glass in her hand. She's kind of twirling it around on the bar top, just looking around. Any music happening? Any fun?
It's a cheerful enough place.
Cool.
There's not a whole lot of like rollicking kind of good time stuff going on. As you're looking around, you do notice Zephyr stepping into the tavern behind you, and he starts talking to the girl who met you at the door.
Okay. He creeps me out, personally. I don't trust that one. Abby, the player, doesn't trust that one. Neros couldn't care less, but he's not giving her a hard time or anything, is he?
No, she seems happy to see him.
Oh, so like they know each other?
Seems that way.
Interesting. Okay. Not gonna interrupt that. They can chat away, I guess.
About how long would you say you're watching them talking? Like, is it just like a glance, or are you kind of watching for a bit?
Maybe for like a few minutes.
Okay. A little way into the conversation, she gestures over towards the front, like in your direction.
Like, okay, so like toward Esmeralda, like she did with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Neros is gonna hang out for a second, see what he does.
He nods. She separates off, and he starts coming up towards the front.
Okay. I'll watch for a few more minutes and then probably leave.
Okay. So he comes up to the counter, not far away, and asks for a drink, just something moderate from Esmeralda. And then she's like, all right, I'll get that mixed up. And then he just walks out of the building.
That was odd. All right. With like the glass in hand and everything, he just
No.
walks out?
No, he asks for the drink. She agrees to mix it, and then he just walks out.
Oh. Okay. That's really weird. I will make a mental note of that and just shrug it off and be like, well, all right. Odd. Probably hang out for a little bit. And then... This is like a mining town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when you say you're going to hang around for a while, are you thinking like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 3 hours?
Oh, probably not hours. Probably like, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Hang out for a little bit and then...
Within the span of that time, Zephyr does come back in and apologizes to Esmeralda and takes the drink, downs it in one go, sets it on the counter, and then leaves.
What is going on with that one? Is he all right? Oh, well, I call Esmeralda back over.
She comes up, cleaning that glass now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And you can answer it if you want to. I don't really care. How long have you known that one?
A few weeks.
A few weeks. Does he come in here often?
Well, he was lodging up here for a time. Why? Do you know him?
I mean, just acquaintances, really. Just odd fella.
He's a bit odd, but he's a good one at the heart.
Take your word for that. He hasn't given anyone any trouble or anything, right?
No. He's been a good sort as long as he's been around. Can't imagine him getting into any trouble.
All right. Say, I have a question for you. Another one, sorry.
Right.
How long have you been in this town? Or in the area?
She laughs and she's like, I've been running this pub my whole life, sweetie.
And that would be how long?
Longer than you've been alive. Let's say it that way.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
She looks to be like in her 40s or 50s.
Okay. This is probably going to be a weird question for you. Have you known of any Kyle that's gone missing, say, the last 20 years?
Kyle, you mean like folk like you, the fetchlings?
Yes.
For the audience that doesn't know.
Kyle, yes. The word that fetchlings usually use to describe themselves, because fetchling can be very offensive.
It's their word.
Yeah.
As we all know. Well, no. That actually, to be honest, there's not a lot of your folk around these parts.
All right.
Are you looking for someone?
Yeah, you say that. In a way.
Well, I hope you find them. We're not much for finding folk round here. We mind our own business and keep our noses clean, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's fair. All right. And she pays for the drink. Thanks, Esmeralda. And then we'll leave the Cherry Martin.
At this point, it's already dark because you got out of the mine kind of late in the day.
Okay. And there's no ravens anywhere.
Not right now, no. There is, however, an elvish lad with crystals in his hair making his way down the street with a pile of papers floating behind him.
Making my way downtown.
It is, of course, Alward.
Oh.
He turns down the road and enters the Cherry Martin.
Oh my gosh. Everyone's just missing each other. What's the paper say?
It is a stack of papers.
Oh.
It's like, a lot of paper.
Okay, then. Interesting. Ignoring that.
So with additional points of information and having been ruminating over things, go ahead and roll me. Well, I guess I'll roll it. It's secret.
Gosh darn it.
What's your religion bonus?
+4.
So, thinking back over that raven that you saw with the Duragar, it kind of all clicks into place, and you start to remember that you know what that creature is from your studies in the past. It's a nosoi.
A what?
A nosoi, which is a type of psychopomp.
Okay. Okay.
So a messenger of sorts who helps to guide the spirits of the departed onto the afterlife. Which you'd be familiar with them from your casual worship of Pharasma, because they all work for her.
So like the other one that brought me the locket was also...
It looked similar, but like...
But not quite?
Thinking over it, you're like, nosoi are raven-sized. What was that thing?
Interesting.
So, you're outside at night in the streets, right out in front of the Cheery Martin, and you've just made this realization that it's like, okay, that thing that I saw earlier today was a psychopomp, and I may have seen more in the past. Armed with this information, is there anything else you'd like to do or look into, or are you going to be more like thinking about that later?
Probably thinking about it later with how Neros is.
It seems on brand.
Yeah. Okay. What time of night is it, did you say?
Just after sunset.
Just after sunset. Okay. Are there any random people walking the street?
Dolvin is walking towards you.
Dolvin?
Yeah, Dolvin, the dwarven foreman. He's heading like down the street in your direction.
Is he the only person I see?
Yeah, there's like another dwarf who's just like crossing the street, but it's pretty quiet right now.
Okay. I don't have any interest in talking to Dolvin, so I'm going to avoid that one.
On a brief examination of his face, he doesn't really seem like he has any interest in talking to anybody right now.
Oh.
He looks kind of upset.
Oh, no. I wonder if it has something to do with Alred. Or Alward? Alward. That's his name, not Howard. Okay. So, like, I imagine it, she, like, walks out, has a sudden, like, realization after she's had time to think about it, not having to work or anything. She pops out. She's like, it's dull out here. Never mind. She, like, does a 180, turns back around, like, waves to the person who greeted her. Did she have a name?
I'm trying to remember if she introduced herself to you. I don't think she did.
I don't think she did.
No. She does have a name, but she didn't introduce herself.
She didn't. Okay, so Neros will wave at her and be like, sorry, decide to come back. And she looks around. Are anything happening? Like, is it still just like people talking, people milling about?
For the most part, people are visiting, chatting over drinks. There is a dwarf with like old silver hair in the back corner reading a bunch of books and poring over notes of like weird runes he found in a cave.
Oh, okay. She is going to pick out a group of people and she's going to cast the cantrip Ghost Sound. And are there any... So Ghost Sound, you can create an auditory illusion of simple sounds that has a maximum volume equal to 4 normal humans shouting. And sounds can emanate from a square you designate within a range, and you can't create intelligible words or other intricate sounds such as music. So maximum of 4. So maximum of yelling, but she's not going to do that. It's going to be like a whisper in this one person's ear. Just a suggestion in this person's ear, and just be like, you should turn around.
And this poor dwarf, stains all over his clothes and everything, just like stiffens up and looks over his shoulder.
Neros waves.
And he like awkwardly waves back and then like shrugs like a what?
She gestures, come here.
Turns and like says something to the rest of the table and stands up, walks over. Do I know you?
No, you don't. But you could.
Right. You new in town?
You could say that.
Right. Would you like a drink, lassie?
I'd love one.
And I imagine you join him at the table, or do you steer him to an empty table?
Probably steer him to an empty table.
All right. And that was, I imagine, was where this vignette will come to an end. I have one last vignette that I want to share with all of you. So, if this were a movie, the screen would be black. We would see nothing. And we would just hear a voice. My daughter, I have a task for you. And that's where we'll end this episode.
So we all get hero
Wait,
points,
what?
right?
Oh yeah, who
Hey,
gets
do we
a
all
hero
get
card?
hero points?
I think we should all get a hero point.
Correct. Everyone gets a hero point.
Good, because I used all my hero points.
Because at the pace of giving out 1 hero point every session, people actually don't get enough hero points. So whenever you guys level up, you'll each get a hero point.
I actually have a spell slot that I can use aside from Unseen Servant now.
Huzzah!
Wait, so who gets to make a speech?
Yeah, who's
We
making-
all
Yeah.
do.
Jordy.
Together.
Jordy gets to make a speech.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Jordy.
that's true. Jordy needs to make a speech.
I would like to thank you all for letting me do horrendous things to your characters.
You make it sound like we're not doing this again. Make a better speech.
Get off the stage. Let him finish.
I'm gonna let you finish.
That's all I had. That's all I wanted to do.
Are you gonna do anything?
I'm going to go get caught up on Elden Ring. I finally started playing that.
Okay. I still need to beat that.
Good decisions.
All right, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
This has been an Atomic Broadcasting production. Pathfinder, Galarian, and the Lost Omens world setting are copyright of Paizo. More information at paizo.com. Music in the show is from Monument Studios' collection, as well as assorted artists, with some original tracks composed by Jordy Hake. More details in the description. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to share with a friend, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.
Yeah, I'll just be looking at him and he'll be like, I'm like, why did you just wink at me?
How are you today,
I'm
sir?
good. How are you?
I'm
Abby
doing
said
well,
curiously.
thank you.
Oh my.
Look at her go. Look at her go.
Type, Abby, type.
I can tell what you're
Abby,
typing by the